fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction, he's got rid of the outside of both of them! Maloney!
Oh, he's taken Anderson! Anderson's up top here!
Oh my god! Big crash! Oh my goodness, half the field's gonna get full!
Second very close. These guys are want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go! Oh no! That's massive! This is it! This is over! I can't believe this! Oh my god!
God, what?
Welcome back to Imola, a place which I like to call my most favourite circuit in all of the world. This place has absolutely everything that goes along with it. It has iconic corners, it has elevation change, it has battling right to the end, and what it does is it's a true test of driving capability. We are back once again after last night's fantastic racing action from here in the Scops 500, and it's time for some more action here today. We've got ourselves 28 more laps around this fabled raceway, and we are going to be here live and uninterrupted on the iRacing Esports Network, brought to you by a SimSpeed TV presentation here of your Monday night V8 Supercar series. And welcome to the conversation. My name's Jake Sperry, joined alongside by Jay Kennedy behind the cameras and Nick Skarajev, who will be calling alongside me for this one. But let's get a little look down at where we are right now. We find ourselves in the heartlands of Italy here, as we are just in the middle of Milan, where Monza is. There is Rome, there's Marseille over on the left-hand side, and of course this Autodromo Enzo Edino Ferrari course is very, very near, about 70 kilometers away from the San Marino Peninsula, where this track once famously held the San Marino Grand Prix for a very long time. Here in Emilia-Romagna, Italy, this is a place where amazing racing comes to life. Nick, this is going to be something really entertaining to watch today.
Yeah, that's exactly right there, Sperry. Big home to Ferrari and Ducati, of course, in Bologna. 4.9 Ks, so pretty long track, 17 corners, so yeah, quite a technical one, as you were saying before.
Absolutely, it is a technical track, and these drivers today who have got to put themselves up to the test over these laps, they have done so many laps worth of practice to get themselves to where they need to. But championship, let's talk championship after 10 rounds worth of racing here. This is round 11. Adam Briggs on top, 1,725 points. Corey Shepherd there on 1,700, but we are in drop round season, so look out for drivers like Jake Burton and Jake Maloney, who don't have all the starts in the world this season so far, to start leapfrogging everyone up the standings, as I forget how to say leapfrog ever so slightly for a second there. But what you can see here is just how entertaining the championship is, with all drop rounds going in the top 9 round score. So now every round is effectively win or it's a failure.
Yeah, it's exactly right. So the stakes are really on. As you were saying before, we've seen a lot of the drivers in the Scops round as of last night. So lots of practice. It's going to be pretty hotly contested at the moment. We're just looking at the top of the timing screens at the moment with Brady Myers in the Altus car, currently in the front, as we're just looking at our championship leader, Adam Briggs.
Yeah, making a run over towards the start-finish line, and a 1:42 flat that last go-around does not improve, remains in 5th place at the moment. There is Jake Burton. He is down on the lane and has not set a lap time here. So this is going to be a taller challenge to go from the back of the field over to the front. There is Scott Zlowski as part of the Trick Sim Sport team. Was running in Scops as part of Forerunner Motorsport with no entry for Trick this year, of course, meaning that Zlowski had to go find a teammate. He will go over the line and hopefully set a time over the boards, and it is 16th place with that time, so that will do quite nicely. The 8th row of the grid sharing alongside for this one. What a lot of drivers, though, will understand about this race here today, though, Nick, is the fact that because so many laps have been turned around this place practicing for Scops, it means that the field is most suitably prepared, and you'll see that the field in the racing today is going to be a lot tighter than it normally is.
Yeah, exactly right. You can even see in qualifying, pretty early stages as we're seeing with the qualifying, but Rob Bowden only rounding out the top 10 with only just over 0.6 of a second. So everyone's sitting in pretty tight. That does seem like a bit of a gap, but you've got to keep in mind this is quite a long circuit as we're just seeing Mitchell Bolton pull up.
Yeah, couldn't find the lap time, nor could Steve Janssen. Sebastian Tixier going through turn 1, won't get another lap in. There's Greg Sharp in the Penrite Stealth Synforce car, making progress over towards the line, and does improve to a 43.4, but that doesn't get him any positions because there is Marty Hansen on a 43.2, so that's not really going to be too much help in a simrigs.com machine they're going through. So Marty's finding what he wants to as he goes quicker, but with all the times done then here in qualifying, this is how the grid's going to stack up then, ladies and gentlemen, as they all start to think about how they are going to find the points that are needed. So Brady Myers then will be on the pole position for this one here today. His time of a 1:41.589 is good enough here, with Tom Freer in the Pursuit Sim Racing car alongside in second. Following that is Andrew Dyson and Corey Shepherd, with Adam Briggs, the championship leader, the second of the DPR cars, in 5th place, and Dylan Rudd in 6th, the second of the Premier Racing Team cars. Then you got Jordi Sinai in 7th, with Brian Borg in 8th, Darren Lobb and Rob Bowden rounding out the top 10.
Yeah, we've just seen outside the top 10, pretty strong effort again by Steve Janssen, David Johnson, Clint Shane Smith and Neil Pearson on row 7, Ruben Goodall and Scott Szolski on row 8, Sebastian Tixier and Michael Rosenblatt on row 9, Mitchell Bolton and Kenneth Latta rounding out the top.
Yep, the top 20 there being rounded out. Damien Johnstone there, of course, in 12th position. Then you've got Christian Smart and Paul Di Maria there in the 11th row of the grid. Daniel Johnson and James Chastanerf there are on row 12. Then it's Marty Hansen and Greg Sharp, and the two, one driver who didn't set a time, one who set a non-representative lap time, Jack Widdus and Jake Burton, will have a lot of work to do as championship contenders to jump up through the field. But there is the grid as they all will look to funnel towards turn number 1 and 2 out here, the Tamburello chicane 2, 3 and 4 it's classified at. It's a really cold track though today. It's 22 degrees and it's 136 k's worth of racing, 28 laps worth of action for this one, and Brady Myers at the front of the pack. Can he do what he needs to pick up the result? He's got 2 lots of DPR cars, he's got 2 lots of Premier cars, and you could even go back and say 3 lots of Premier cars, as there goes the green flag. Let's get ourselves underway. Adam Briggs bogs down from the 3rd row. He's got absolutely swamped here as he goes through the opening section. He's got back outside the top 10 already here as they funnel towards turn 1. It's nice and calm at the front as they go on through for Brady Myers, but some side-by-side as they all try and funnel through Tamburello. Rob Bowden gets up on the anti-cut curbs, moving on forward, but it's a nice start, but not for the championship leader.
Yeah, Briggsy really bad off the line there. Oh, and Dyson there into the back there of Tom Freer.
Oh, goodness me, and Freer into Corey Shepherd as well. He will not be happy with Tom Freer that Andrew Dyson pushed him out of the way like that as they now climb up the hill out of Tosa towards Piratella. And will this one actually be dropped again here as Corey Shepherd jumps into 2nd and could very nearly get 3rd? And it's contact there into Piratella with one of the, that is one of the Premier Racing Team cars there running into trouble. So that's Brian Borg getting a little push then going on from one Mr. Tom Freer. It's Piccadilly Circus and everyone's got their elbows out, keep yourself tucked in. Someone else has gone wide. I think that is Dyson.
Yeah, we've also seen, I think it was either Daniel Johnson off the back there as well, so we've seen a few incidents, but big winner at the moment, Brady Myers, almost 2 seconds clear of Corey Shepherd, so he's packed up his bags and he's making a run for it.
And look at Jake Burton now trying to make progress through the field. He's already gained 6 places. He's up into 20th, and he'll be loving the fact that they're fighting right there at the front of the field as he will try and push forward for the 28 laps that he's got. Immediately looking for the inside here on the number 13 machine there, and it's contact there. That's one of the cars running wide. That looks like that could be Rosenblatt. And look at Widders trying to go through. There's a car turned around. We didn't just see that, did we? Oh, that's Darren Lobb who's gone around and is missing the front of the Simrigs.com DPR car.
Yeah, pretty upsetting by DPR. So we've had Briggs off the line, not making off the line there. We're just catching a replay there of Darren Lobb. Also pretty unfortunate. So not a great day at the moment now for DPR.
Well, he goes down the inside, he clatters into one of those vehicles, and then everyone goes through. I think it was Brian Borg who he hit. Yes, it is. And then he's got to try and hit the brakes and just let everybody go by. Let's have another look at it here. On board with Brian Borg. He'll take the hit from the side, and this is what he's dealing with then. So he's there on the outside track then, going into the corner. And, well, he can't leave any more room than that, you'd say.
Yeah, it's exactly right. He obviously, you could hear him with the spotter. He would have known that that Darren was down the inside, but unfortunately just not enough room to get through.
And we've still got some side-by-side here. This is Adam Briggs trying to get through now, Brian Borg. There's the AOC machine behind it, Clint Shane Smith, which is also part of that Premier Racing Team outfit. So 4 of them in this top split here today. But Briggsy's got the move done then on Brian Borg. But Clint here will be feeling like he's got a chance to go out there, attack and be aggressive in the early stages. They climb the rise as they go through. One driver struggling with a blown engine. That's Paul Di Maria. And, well, Di Maria, I think, may need to break to somebody to hope that it's all going to be okay. But Mitch Bolton here at the back of the pack now has to look at all of this snaking train go on through here, the Variante Alta.
Yeah, I do believe Paul Di Maria might have had a collision there with Sebastian Tixer, who's unfortunately had to retire out of this race at the moment, as we're just catching a few of the middle guys. We've seen Rosenblatt and Neil Pearson both knocking each other around quite a lot. So, yeah, you can see these DPR cars are really copying it at the moment.
Corey Shepherd sets the fastest lap of the day so far, 1:42.349. Then getting himself up to speed, trying to chase down Brady Myers at the front of this field. He leads by 2 seconds at the moment. Tom Freer third. Jordi Sinai is already up into 4th place as they all funnel their way in towards Tamburello then for the 3rd revolution of the circuit. Clint Shane Smith is through on Adam Briggs, and so is Brian Borg as well. So disaster then happening right now for Adam Briggs. He's now dropping back.
Yeah, it's just a really, really hard night here for Adam Briggs. I was just looking down the timing as we're just seeing the number 1 car up in 16th. So Jake Burton up almost 10 positions at the moment. So making the most of this of these early incidents.
Yeah, and he's trying to get all those incidents working out nicely here. So we'll hopefully see how that one all plays out. Clint Shane Smith then it threw up into 8th position. There is Knight Rob Bowden, who's also found a way through on Adam Briggs. And now Briggs and Dyson have got to really work hard and get some points. Remember, if they don't finish high enough in this race, they're going to have to use this as one of their 4 drop rounds here over the course of this season. That would be a nightmare. Only good news is that there's Jake Burton behind them in this race, and he'll be scoring even less points.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And talking about points and the leaders at the moment, so yeah, the top 3 at the moment, Brady Myers commanding a pretty good gap now to Corey Shepherd, and Tom Freer is also a little bit further back there from Corey Shepherd. As you can see how big that gap is now. Tom Freer from that incident on lap 1 sitting pretty well, and yeah, just catching this big pack here for 7th place.
He certainly is, and well, this pack as well is starting to get a little bit interesting. Brady Myers goes even quicker now and pulls the gap. That's Neil Pearson, who has gone around, and with James Chastaneuf as well. So 2 off that Ravazza, which has been a sore point of contention all race long. Drivers trying to be greedy and gain places. So we'll see what happens with Neil Pearson first and foremost here. This is going on through. I believe that's Jack Widders behind, who goes for an absolute banzai dive down the inside. Just about can't turn it up, and it's almost like team warfare. Chastaneuf ends up in the middle of no man's land and can't do anything. So there was Widders, and it was Rosenblatt actually, I think, who was making the move. So Rosenblatt makes the big lunge down the inside, and Jack Widders just helps him out. The teammates there helping to turn around Mr. Pearson.
Yeah, it did look like Neil was a little bit slow in that section there. You could see he was on the brakes a lot earlier than everyone else, but yeah, very unfortunate there. Like I was saying again, DPR not having a great day there. I think their top driver at the moment is Adam Briggs, by the looks of it, who had that horrible start there.
And he's in 9th place. We get a look from James Chastaneuf's perspective here as we go on through. You can see nowhere to go at that point, and bang! Into the side of Neil Pearson goes James Chastaneuf at this moment. So he will now look to try and recover his way through this race. A 28-lap race is going to be key. There he is right now at the moment, trying to keep on going with one of the other simrigs.com DPR cars there. That is the recovering Neil Pearson there, who will have to be working with right now out on track. Worth noting that Rob Bowden has dropped behind here. Andrew Dyson and Adam Briggs here into 9th place, and Briggs has just got through as well on Brian Borg. He's now up into 8th position, but look there in the background, that's just Jake Burton trying to find a way through on Scott Zlowski in the trick car. So that's not going to be quite ideal here in terms of the battle, because Burton's going to want to be trying to get through pretty quickly, as we are already over, I would say, 1/7 of this race distance. The trick car's going to have to be alert to this one here. Burton's going to try and go later on the brakes here and just ease it into the corner, and he does so without any worries at all. Zlowski had nothing for him.
Yeah, Jake Burton absolutely parking it right there on the apex, absolutely nailing it. And we have seen Bowden was up to a couple of positions before, but yeah, back down to 11th. But yeah, this train at the moment is just absolutely ferocious. Elbows are really out at the moment. We can see a lot of positions changing very quickly.
Yes, it is this middle pack which we are starting to see all of the battling going on. This is Ruben Goodall getting the grass. Oh, how has he saved it there going forward? You have that lock rear diff as well when you get yourself off into the grass. It's so difficult to control these supercars, and he somehow manages to keep it afloat at the cost of 2 places.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And that grass is absolutely like ice there. So Ruben Goodall with the reaction timing so quickly to save that. Great driving there by Ruben Goodall.
Absolutely here, and I wonder if, I believe that is the Exo Gaming car there. Kenneth Lasser may get a slowdown. Down the inside looks Damien Johnstone, and he can't quite get there. He's third in the championship, almost contact there as they went on through the Variante Alta. Now they make the charge down here towards the Ravazzas, and Damien Johnstone's looking every which way like he wants to make a move. He's not close enough this time by, but look at how they all just start to slow it down. And just behind that now, Ruben Goodall's lost another place here on the run forward. So more to be found then in terms of this one. Worth noting, the only real battles inside the top 5 is Jordi Sinai versus Dylan Rudd, as there's some side-by-side. Andrew Dyson now wanting to jump up into 9th place. Oh, the wing mirrors clipped there as they went on through. Brian Borg has to get out of the way. 9th place now for Andrew Dyson. Yeah,
great work there by Dyson. Absolutely pulling it there on Borgie at the moment. So we've seen pulling a little bit more of the pace. Obviously having that bad start, he was very, very quick there. I think qualifying, I think it was 2nd place. So he definitely has the pace, the race pace, potentially getting out with an earlier pit stop and getting himself out of this pack.
I was going to say, the only battle we had going on inside the top 5 was Sinai versus Rudd. That gap is 0.8 of a second right now, but this is Adam Briggs and Clint Shane Smith here going at it for 7th and 8th position on the roads. They head through the Piratella corner, descending back down the hill to the double apex right of Acqua Minerale. Such a brilliant section of road. You have to be committed on the brakes through the right. You have to turn and brake at the same time. It is such a difficult corner, and it really is how understated, how brilliant that section of road is. And now look at this run from Briggs. He's thinking of the inside here at the Variante Alta, and Clint Shane Smith wisely getting out of the way.
Yeah, great work there by Briggs. So picking up another spot again. Absolutely flying there at the moment. Just looking there, Corey Shepherd still maintaining that gap there to Brady Myers. I almost thought Brady was going to walk away with this, but Corey Shepherd keeping that gap there around the 2-second mark.
Neil Pearson's out. Neil Pearson out then of the race as we just catch that on the ticker tower. He has retired the car, it seems, and there wide goes Andrew Dyson. He's 2 corners in a row, actually, he's gone wide. We saw it in the back of shot. He went wide there at the Acqua Minerale section, had a slow down to go with, and I wonder if he was left in a little bit of a lurch right now in terms of the fight with Brian Borg. Had Jake Burton behind as well, which wasn't going to be helpful, and it looks like hit the brakes and bang, yes, he just got a tap there from Brian Borg, who very nearly didn't make the corner. So that was a little bit cheeky there from Brian Borg. He was never going to slow it down.
And who's that played into the hands of? Jake Burton, that absolute killer drive is starting on the last row there, up into 9th place at the moment. So see that little bit of a gap there, so he should be able to, won't have to drive too defensive at the moment, and he'll really be able to start putting the pressure onto Clint Shane Smith.
Well, no shocks there that Jake Burton's having a really good drive. He is absolutely magnificent when he gets into the right rhythm. He has Rob Bowden in the tanked SRT car. Fantastic designed livery it is. Will now try and find that way through into the top 10 once again. Brian Borg having absolutely none of it as they take the rise once more here on this 7th lap of the event, and doing a pretty nice job of things at the moment here in this race. Not much to really argue with, to have a fight and a shout about, as they go heavily over the anti-cut curbs here around this place. Now that chicane used to be an absolute fear factor for anybody that tried to descend against it.
Yeah, that's right, and it really starts to favour the hard breakers there. Rob Bowden, definitely one of those at the moment. You can see they're still having that little bit of a gap there to was it Rob Bowden to the back there of Brian Borg there, but just pulling a little bit of time there at the moment, and yeah, you can see through those chicanes, you're really stopping it on a dime.
Absolutely, and that's the key, just making sure it's all stopping nice and neatly here out then on the race, and these drivers will be thinking about the pit stop strategy as well. There's a car off with a heavy boatload of damage. Is that the Pearson entry that's trying to keep back going again? There's Chastanoff going on through, and just looking at that car, no, it's Paul Di Maria trying to save some iRacing, save some safety rating here out on track, and that vehicle would definitely not pass any road legality tests.
That's exactly right. He did have a early incident there with Sebastian Tixier. Tixier obviously escaping out and pulling out for the moment, as well as Neil Pearson. But yeah, Paul Di Maria choosing to stay out there and just try and get those laps away.
Absolutely, and of course, if you haven't already, like, share and subscribe. The iRacing Esports Network for more amazing sim racing action up and down, not just with us, but with all our partners as well, like RaceSpot TV, Apex Racing TV, the Global Sim Racing Channel, LSR TV, and as well as Podium Esports 2. So this is going to be a key little battleground that we see for the top 10. Rob Bowden's got a good run here up the hill, may just not be close enough just yet to pick up Brian Borg, but he's not quite too far away in terms of the realms of possibility. I want to keep an eye on Andrew Dyson as well in 15th place, because this is a real championship battle here. He's up against Damien Johnstone.
Yeah, I was just about to say, Ken Flanner and Damien Johnstone having a pretty quiet run at the moment. We haven't seen too much from them. They're currently really chipping away. Oh, you just see there Damien Johnstone running a little bit wide there. You can see Andrew Dyson can be nice and tight as he chooses to go into the pits.
Early decision, lap 9 of 28, then he'll be coming down in the end of lap 8. That's probably one of the earlier calls that you can make to get yourself in with strategy, fill it up with fuel, and go to the end. Of course, the advantage is you get fresh tyres. The disadvantage is you're on really old ones come the end. Just look at the airtime that Rob Bowden gets over the anti-cut curbs through Tamburello, and trying to make sure that everything works out in terms of this scrap. So we are starting to think about maybe drivers who are getting a little bit bogged down, thinking about the pit stop strategy game here today, and it's not often that you say it, but every place matters. Now look just in front of this group, look up the hill, that's a Jake Burton who has found the back of a Clint Shane Smith.
Yeah, it's exactly right, and he's almost past, as we've seen in a few previous laps. You can see Rob Bowden and Brian Borg there, but Jake Burton just with the pace, and I've just seen off screen at the moment, Mitchell Bolton has just come off as well, so might be able to grab a replay of that.
Pearson go off. Mitch Bolton has been trying to be aggressive. He's already missing the rear off of that vehicle, and you can see he's heading towards Tozer right now. So this should be all on his own right now, going through the left and trying to get up the hill. The back steps around, and flick spin 360 gets collected maybe? Nope. That will be, I'm not having a good run, and I'm calling it a day.
Yeah, that's right, and leaving some pretty big black lines there for good measure, but yeah, just seeing this Rob Bowden right on the back there of Brian Borg, but just not getting it done. You can just see that bit of a slide there for Brian Borg, so potentially if you're Rob Bowden, as you can see, he's staying out, but maybe getting a pit stop in early, considering he's not being able to get around.
It is worth noting that Jake Burton did get through on Clint Shane Smith up into 8th position then. He'll be chasing down Adam Briggs, who's a 2.5 down the road at the moment, who he himself is chasing down Steve Janssen, and every gap it seems at the moment is about a second or so for those fighting up near the front. The top two has been nice, as there is Paul Di Maria there on the outside. Once again, it looks like they're trying to get things repaired on the car and keep going, but for the time being, this top 10 scrap right now for 10th and 11th has been staying stagnant for the last couple of laps or so. Rob Bowden just playing, I would say, a little bit of a fuel game. Now, this is interesting here. Damien Johnstone coming in. Remember, he was not a million miles away from Andrew Dyson in terms of the way that the racing was going on. He was just ahead when Dyson came in. There is Andrew Dyson right now, who's going to be monstering down this long 1 kilometre front stretch and taking the place away.
Yeah, you can see Damien Johnson going away a lap early there, but you can see Damien Johnson pulling out there. So that is our first of the pitters. Big slide there. I was just going to pick out as well. So Steve Jansen starting in 11th place has made an absolutely great run. Both him and Dylan Rudd there. So we've seen that 4th, 5th and 6th. Not too many battles there, so we haven't seen too much of what they're doing there, but we're just pulling back again to Brian Borg and Rob Bowden there. You could almost see the impatience there on Rob Bowden's face.
He's been stuck there, and once you get bogged down, you begin to get frustrated, and that's when you go for poor chances. Into the pits comes Brian Borg. He's had enough of Rob Bowden behind him. He's had enough of giving him fuel. He'll make sure that he has to go out then and go and race a little bit, because there is Scott Zlowski just behind in the trick car, who will want to try and get inside the top 10 with a little bit of numbers genius. And if you know anything about Trick Sims, Nick, you know that drivers from Trick know how to fuel save.
Yeah, it's exactly right. And I'm sorry, I was just catching off screen as well. Jack Witter's off again in one of the sand traps, so just caught that off screen. But yeah, you're exactly right. Fuel saving is definitely a big key here. We've seen Scott Sazlowski pulling that time there in on Rob Bowden due to that battle that he was having. We're just seeing quite a lot of cars in now at the moment.
Yep, they're all in the back. Christian Smart, Paul Di Maria's back in again, trying to find some strategy. He lets the drivers go. He's desperately trying to save the car and hopefully clear anything that he's got going on right now. There is Sazlowski here in 11th place, trying to get on forward with the strategy, but what will be key is who comes out where in terms of in that mid to late. So we'll keep an eye on them as they go through. Brian Borg should be out and away without too many issues, but now Rob Bowden thinking about who is behind, who could potentially challenge here in this race, and this is the mid-pack where it's all going on. We're on lap 11 here of 28, the halfway stage coming up at the end of the next 4 laps here in this one, soon to be the end of the next 3, but at this moment, 3.8 seconds. Brady Myers hasn't really had anything to talk about here today. He's at the front, and it looks like he is doing pretty decently at this stage.
Yeah, the top 3, so both himself and Corey Shepherd and Tom Freer having a pretty quiet run out there. Corey Shepherd right up the order at the moment, sitting pretty well there in 2nd place. Jordi Sinai was just off as well, so 2nd and a half there to Dylan Rudd as well. As we've just seen Jack Witters came off through one of the chicanes in that last lap there, pulling into the pits now. So still keeping looks to be most of that top 10 sticking out there at the moment. Not too many people coming in at this stage of the pits.
No, not too many just yet. They'll like to try and run the tank as long as they possibly can. Now, what's key here about this battle, 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th as well, you could even put 7th and 8th in this little category as well, is that every person here is trying to make sure they are not the first to blink, because that's effectively like setting up a massive chain, an entire convention hall, you could say, of dominoes, and just somebody just going boop and just knocking everything down.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And we're just seeing, even though those gaps are staying pretty consistent, we're just seeing that time come down ever so slightly between Jake Burton and Adam Briggs. You can see he's pulled in about a second, so he's getting within that draft shot of the back of that DPR car. So we'll see that, we'll just come down to 9/10 now, so we'll see that gap really start to close down.
I wonder if Burton's going to come in and make a stop and try and make sure that he gets this position worked out. So we'll have a little look. He wants to do it with minimal fuss, as it looks like we've got a very, very long camera angle from there, trying to find out where everyone is. But in comes the championship leader, Adam Briggs.
Yeah, Adam Briggs choosing to pull in now. You could maybe see that gap closing with Burton behind him there, but we've seen Clint Shane Smith come in as well. So potentially this is the chain reaction you were just talking about, with a few cars still a fair bit up ahead at the moment that are going to stick out there.
Here's Scott Slosky. Ken Latter's done really well to hold on to the back of him at this stage, and will be looking to try and get aggressive in the Exto Gaming car. They were so unfortunate with the Brad Corey Preston entry last time out, crashing out with 5 laps to go. Not their fault. But Kenneth Latter here, trying to pilot Exto Gaming through any woe and misfortune, and has just been quietly getting along with it.
Yeah, and we're just seeing DPR, DPR Holdens, yeah. So Marty Hansen, DPR having.
that's a different card, so that's a
very
different
different
car
team.
they're going through. Still got the simrigs.com sponsorship. That's what's making life incredibly difficult to try and work out who is who when you've got the same sponsor. So try and find a little bit of originality maybe. But you can see the back just stepping out there as they go on through. And that is a very slow try and recover it on a surface like gravel that doesn't want to grip.
Yeah, it's exactly right.
Well, look at this here from Andrew Dyson. He's in the middle of a battle pack here, Nick. He's got Clint Shane Smith. He's actually leapfrogged Clint Shane Smith in the stop. So Andrew Dyson now, look at what he's got to hold back.
Yeah, it's exactly right. He's got some pretty strong drivers behind him. All of them are pretty aggressive with overtaking and stuff, and you can see they're all well within that draft shot at the moment. No one's really sitting too much within striking distance. They're all, you can just see a few of those car links in between each one. So you can see that different line taken there. Rob Bowden keeping it really tight there. But yeah, Dyson's going to be under a lot of pressure in just a few corners, I reckon.
Jake Burton pits, he has to, from what was going to be a good position. Dylan Rudd, Steve Jansen, all diving into the pits as well. So they've all made that call. Scott Zizlowski is in on the lane. Who's fueled it? There is Jake Burton. He tries to get himself off of the jacks, off and away. And who is he jumping here in the stop? The answer is not too many people here as they start to push forward. In fact, he might just be ahead of Janssen here in terms of that one and getting going again. There goes through one vehicle there as they start to charge through. Dylan Rudd is going to be the best of them all right now here as he tries and gets himself away. And there you can see Burton has jumped Steve Janssen in the stop with some good strategy. And there is Adam Briggs, who is going to be ahead of Janssen, but behind Jake Burton, who's overcut him, underfueling the car.
Yeah, it's exactly right, and it's definitely not who you want to be behind Jake Burton here. I really don't think Adam Briggs is going to be able to stick with him there. And we did remember just before Steve
Janssen... calling his tyres.
He's calling his tyres down there. We did see Janssen was as high as 6th place at the moment, so you can see an absolute run there by Jake Burton.
Yeah, he's doing a fantastic job here to get himself going forward, but Damien Johnstone right now, here, look at the train he's trying to fight with. That's Brian Borg just behind, who will be feeling, how has that happened? Race leader comes in. Brady Myers makes his stop then in the number 2 Altus Esports car as he will be transversing his way down the lane. Right now, there is Kenneth Latter yet to come in 5th place. Right now, he's having a really good run of things, and he now decides to dive in.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And it's going to be quite a key there for Brady Myers where he's going to come out. Was pretty lucky to have such clean air for the whole race, or the last 15 laps or so. We're just catching some of the people down the back at the moment there. So it's going to be, yeah, absolute key where Brady Myers comes out. Hopefully he has some clean air to be able to keep going there.
Looks good at the moment. Will come out behind Darren Lobb out on circuit, it seems. So there he goes. And in fact, he will just be ahead of Daniel Johnson. So that's a good run there from Brady Myers to be back out and away in 6th place with the second half of this race to go. But still, Clint Shane Smith, he's going to get a good run here on Andrew Dyson. This might just be a case of, well, how you doing? Which way you going to go? It's going to force him to go the long way around to get this one done. Look at the squeeze. You go through the final right there. Before the left start coming in that favour Dyson on the inside, on the brakes. Dyson is later there on initial entry. They tap a little bit as they go through in towards turn number 1, but it's all nice and calm out of Tamburello. Clint's got to find a more comprehensive move. Dyson just needs to defend.
Yeah, and what a defence that was with Dyson as well, holding that inner line and being, you could see literally how hard he was on the brakes and how late he was braking there against Clint Shane Smith. So he's not going to make it easy for him, that's for sure.
No, absolutely not. Andrew Dyson has every right to go out there and race. He is racing for position with all 7 of those cars behind that he's trying to do very well with. We can catch a nice little static camera right now as they head on through this fantastic right of Piratella and down the hill towards Acqua Minerale and this brilliant, brilliant road that has once again proved to be fantastic. I want to keep focused though on car number 5. This is Tom Freer. Both drivers here have yet to pit, both himself and Jordi Sinai at this stage. But the gap is down 0.6 of a second here. And what is crucial about this is that Tom Freer, by no stretch of the imagination, is safe from the Synergy Sim Racing driver behind.
Yeah, that's exactly right. We did see that gap was almost 1.5 seconds. So Jordi Sinai Definitely putting in some pace there through the middle of this race here. We're just catching Jake Burton now on the back there of Dylan Rudd. Just crossing that start-finish line now. Right there up the inside.
Easy as you like. Dylan Rudd's not going to fight that one. He knows he's not in a race here with Jake Burton, so he lets him go and decides that is the place. We've got a fantastic look here at Andrew Dyson still. He's okay for this lap though, as he jams on the brakes and tries to slow it down through the left of Tamburello. Of course, used to be one full left. There's a small memorial there on the right-hand side for the legendary Ayrton Senna after his accident in 1994. But this 6-car pack, well, it's one that's going to be really entertaining to keep in mind as they look to continue. And of course, those top 5 drivers still yet to come in and make those stops, and Dan Johnson as well in 7th.
Yeah, that's right. And we're just seeing they're really starting to bunch up at the moment. Rob Bowden really holding the back there of this trio. But you'd almost say that definitely within striking distance, we're just seeing a big slide there from Rob Bowden. That's cost him about half a second, I would say.
It has, and that won't be doing any goodness for the tyres. In comes Freya, in comes Sinai, and it looks like Corey Shepherd is still out there on the circuit. So those two diving down in onto the lane, hitting their boxes. It's going to be a question of who's going to jump out ahead. Ruben Goodall stays out for pursuit, and probably Darren Lobb as well at this stage. Look at this, 6 going straight through the Variante Alta as they start to fight.
Just you could see the hang time that DPR car got, almost all 4 wheels off the ground there. Yeah, they're taking these curves very, very hard at the moment there, as we see Szlowski is holding the back of that field. We're just catching a few of the people coming out of the pits now, so it is Freya ahead of Jordi Sinai again. It looks like Sinai might have been...
That's Burton.
Yeah, and you just see Burton come through just then.
Oh, that's a little bit of a kick in the teeth then. And look at Sinai, he's having to defend here. Rudd's trying to go around the outside, trying to take advantage on a Jordi Sinai on cold tyres. He blew the engine up, causing a safety car last time he was racing yesterday here at Imola. So with Brady Myers setting the fastest lap as well to boot, it's going to be a case of Jordi's got to get aggressive and get back to top of Freya. Freya now is effectively trying to fight for his 2nd place.
That's exactly right there. You just see Freya just up the road there with Burton splitting him in between there. So we can see Corey Shepherd. It does look like...
That was contact there between Dyson and Clint Shane Smith. There through Tozer, up the hill. Which way are you going to look, Clint? It's going to have to be the long way around Piratella. You don't often see those ones being made. He has to fall back into line, try and pick up an exit. He doesn't really, though. And he's fighting the car through the left-hand bend, trying to get through. He's now using up all of the tyre wall, trying to get close enough to make a move.
Yeah, that's right. But he can't forget he does have Rob Bowden right on the back there, as well as Damien Johnson. So he can try and put in a move, but if...
Yeah, we're replay here of Adam Briggs. So this is what's going to happen to Jordi Sinai. Oh, it's just the classic tyres on the grass, can't save it. Corey Shepherd, the race leader's in, and there goes 1 place, there goes 2. Jordi, you need to stay calm. You can't push too fast, my friend, if you're going to get that one going. But race leader in, that is Corey Shepherd. He was the closest rival, of course, to one Mr. Brady Myers. He's out and away again in 2nd place. So he's managed to hold that one. So Tom Freya now be fighting for a podium. Here comes back Jordi Sinai then on Adam Briggs. And position made.
Yeah, so Jordi Sinai back at it. We did see that is a really tricky corner, as we did see in the Scops race last night with Cooper Webster having a pretty big off in that and costing him quite a lot of positions in the late part of the race there. Is we've just seen Jordi Sinai run wide, but he has made that position back there.
He certainly has. He's done a brilliant job making that play. So there is Rob Bowden. There is Clint Shane Smith. This is the fight for 9th place. Everybody has come in and made that stop. So for the time being at least, Clint Shane Smith's got to find a way past Dyson. Bowden's got to find a way past Clint Shane Smith. Johnstone's got to find a way past them all. Borg's got to find a way past them all. And now Szlowski and Latter have got to find a way past them all as well.
Yeah, and you'd have to say for your Szlowski, you'd be in a pretty hard position there, because so much happening in front, and they're not really running that wide at the moment. They're just running nose to tail, so they're not running that defensively and taking up that racing room. The pace is still really quite even between a lot of them.
Well, the other good news is the fact that with Andrew Dyson at the front of this pack, it means that he's going to be using more fuel here, Nick, than anybody else. So would you say that Andrew Dyson here is probably in a catch-22?
Yeah, it's exactly right. You can see that these guys are right under that rear wing of each other, making the most of that draft there. As we're just looking a little bit further up there with Jordi Sinai, Dylan Rudd.
Dylan Rudd's dropped 2 places then compared to those drivers. He was ahead and has dropped back. So we'll try and catch something on the Motum Simulation replay. Hopefully this is something that we've caught properly. There you can see, there's Jordi Sinai, there is one Mr. Adam Briggs, and there is Dylan Rudd, and it's vintage Aqua Minerale. 2 tyres in the grass, can't slow it down.
Yeah, that's right, but he thankfully not running too wide there. Unfortunately, it only did cost him 2 positions there. Interesting to see if he does have that pace. We are seeing Jordi Sinai is so strong at the moment, whether or not he can get that move done.
Yep, and that was key, and that is Ruben Goodall trying to get around Christian Smart there for 16th position. So everybody fighting up and down the order. Every place, it seems, at this stage is starting to matter as they find themselves in battle upon battle here out on circuit. No such for Brady Myers, who's 9 seconds clear at the front of the field, and of course that battle's still going on. 2nd, 3rd and 4th here in terms of this race. Corey Shepherd 3 seconds clear of Tom Freer, who he himself is only now 1.7 ahead of Jake Burton.
That's exactly right. Brady Myers, a little bit of redemption you could say. Obviously Altus had a pretty hard time yesterday on the Scops with the 500, so the sprint race sitting pretty good at the moment there. Corey Shepherd on an absolutely blinder with that 2nd place at the moment. Pretty safe at the moment from Tom Free. You can see roughly about 3 seconds or so there. So under no threat at the moment. We're just on board here with Steve Jansen.
We certainly are. Jansen's trying to get to the back here of Rudd and Briggs and Sinai and try and get as close as possible here in this one, but it might not just be the case to be made here for Steve Jansen in the blue and black Mustang then in 8th place. You can see how every battle is worth it behind, because Andrew Dyson here is still stuck with mirrors full of Clint Shane Smith, still with Rob Bowden and Johnson and Borgen, Sikorsky and Latta going on through in towards this next section. And this is the sort of battle that makes you start to wonder and worry a little bit. And there's a change of position, is there? Because that looks like Brian Borg has found a way through on Scott Kozlowski.
Yeah, we just saw a bit of a brake lock up there into that chicane there, but just looking at the further cars down at the moment, it does look like Kozlowski and Borg had changed positions there. That Exo Gaming car just lurking in the background there, whether or not he can get a move done.
Well, the big key is that they can't afford to lose too much time. You can see that gap, it's almost grown up to a second, so that will be a little concerning in terms of this little scrap as they try and go on through Piratella and down the hill again. It's always about try and make a move, but try and do so in such a way, Nick, where you're never going to be losing any time on the car in front. You've got to try and make a move as if it were your natural racing line.
Yeah, that's exactly right, and we can see that gap just opening up a little bit from Bowden to Damien Johnson, so it's not too much at the moment. It's only about half a second or so, but you can see if you're either Borg or Sikorsky potentially getting a little bit impatient, seeing that that top 10 finish potentially just cruise away up the road.
And it's all about that cruising that we're going to be seeing. Is that Latta making a move in the background there, trying to dive one down the inside? It just wasn't enough trying to make that one happen. So Kenneth's starting to get a little bit antsy here. It's 7 to go, or technically 8 to go at this stage. They've got 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, and lap 28 still to go in this one. But it is Scott Kozlowski here who is just holding off Kenneth Latta for the top 15 out on track. Every battle starting to matter here as drivers start to make small little mistakes here and small little mistakes there. And it is worth noting that Steve Jansen has brought the gap back down to Dylan Rudd to a second.
Yeah, that's right there. We did see Steve Jansen not having such a good run in the pits there. He was as high as 6th place and shuffled down the order back down to 8th at the moment, but putting on some really good race pace at the moment, closing that gap there to the 7th position of Dylan Rudd.
The traffic may have helped in the form of James Chastanerf there, so that could be what was needed for Steve Janssen to close down in. Dylan Rudd's got to stay with it, though, in terms of this one. Well, that will just about sort that one out there. That's another case of the Aqua Minerales, and Steve Janssen gets 2 tyres on the grass and just about saves it.
Yeah, and thankfully just holding his track position. I'm guessing Chastanerf would have been under a blue flag, so not really able to take that position back off him there. As we're just looking a little bit further up at the moment. Adam Briggs pulling that gap now back to Jordi Sinai, so Briggs finding a little bit of extra pace here in these late stages.
This is now damage limitation, you would say, for Adam Briggs. He's got to get past Jordi Sinai. He knows he can't catch Burton, Freer and Shepherd. He'll be relying on contact there from those up in the field and someone to spin and lose those places. But he has to focus on the one car in front of him in the number 3 machine, and that is car 28 of Jordi Sinai, who will be absolutely marauding forward with iRacing in this one with just how high his number is.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And just a little bit further up the road, we do have Jake Burton starting to pull that gap now to Tom Freer. Just looking at it now, it's 1.2 seconds, so you can see that gap physically coming down at the moment. Not too much in the draft, and obviously not within striking distance at the moment, but just chipping away, and we're looking for potentially a podium position now for Jake Burton.
He's looking, he's searching, but he's got to get within a second first, and then he's got to find the move on Tom Freer, which I think is the tougher part of this battle that he's got. The key here is that Corey Shepherd, I don't think, is going to be caught here in this one, but Jake Burton has every licence to go out there and attack at this stage. There is Corey Shepherd. He's 4 seconds down the road in the Mr. Antenna Premier Racing Team car, and he has been wonderful over the course of this race so far. Heavy over the curves again goes Jake Burton, searching to try and close down Tom Freer, and Freer will try and give everything to make sure that he's still got a podium to come home with.
Yeah, you can see Burton, especially through those chicanes, using all the road and then some as well, so absolutely on the limit at the moment. Almost pretty close together tyres wise as well, so no one's really going to be having that tyre advantage there. Is just casting my eyes over there, so still just a touch over a second, almost pulling it under a second now, so we'll see that gap close just a little bit faster.
There you can see on the left-hand side of your screen, it's now 9/10 of a second, and there's 6 laps to go, so Burton can pick and choose the moment as and how he wants to here at this stage. Sinai and Briggs still close as well, behind that for 5th and 6th position here at Imola, and they know there's only 2 rounds to go after this, so this is crunch time points that Jake Burton's thinking about right now. He started from the back and didn't get a lap in, but look at how he's been pushing here over the course of this race. He's up into 4th place, and he's doing exactly what he needs to here for this one. He is motoring.
Yeah, and talk about motoring as well. Just seeing that gap there between Adam Briggs and Sinai as well, so well within striking distance now, as you can see. Possibly not close enough to go down the inside, but after maybe one of these longer straights there, he'll definitely feel that draft advantage. You'd have to say Jordi Sinai definitely feeling the pressure at the moment here from Adam Briggs.
Yes, but Adam Briggs has got to find a move, and this is why this track is so good, because it is a tougher place to go and make overtakes happen. Just look back to 2005, for example. Fernando Alonso holding off on Michael Schumacher, who charged from 12th up to 2nd and couldn't get the magic done come the end of the race. Damien Johnstone here needs top 10 results. He's in 12th place right now. He's staring at the back of that tanked SRT machine and is looking like he's thinking, I've got to make moves now, and I've got to get close enough to make moves. And the Synergy car knows he needs to, but James Chastanerf might be a little bit of help here. No, sorry, that's Clint Shane Smith having to defend there at this stage. He runs it too deep, goes off the road. There's one place. Is this a case of a pick for a second? No, not just yet.
Yeah, that's it. Blink and those positions are gone. We did see Bowden also going pretty wide into that corner, thankfully recovering it and not getting on the grass there, but yeah, you have to be absolutely gutted there for Clint Shane Smith losing 2 positions almost in the blink of an eyelid. You can see Bowden defending very hard at the moment.
That was close between them as they go through the lefts and rights. What's the gap for third, though? It's down to 0.3 of a second as well. I wonder if we can have a look at that. Look at this through Tota. Burton's just riding underneath the gearboxes and everything else. He's trying everything he can to get through. Look, he's even flashing headlights. Give me everything. I want to get by. Please, let me go. But Tom Freer's having none of it. He will keep that car in the middle of the road, even if old Father Time comes along and says it's the end of the race.
Yeah, that's absolutely right there. Also a pretty sharp battle there between Wittes and Rosenblatt, but just keeping an eye. Wow, big slide there. That is definitely going to ruin his momentum there. You can just see Burton pulling out there. He's going to be down the outside, so not the most ideal line. Potentially try and do a bit of a switchback.
Trying to pick the run up for the exit here, get the run going towards the Ravazza corners, and look at this run. It's a great one from Jake Burton here. It's going to have to be defended. Look at that. Nice middle of the road driving from Tom Freer, making sure that Burton has to try and find a more clear-cut opportunity earlier on the straight to make the move. He might get a chance here, but look at that Ravazza too going along from Tom Freer. He's able to just pull out that gap a couple tenths, but this is where the draft starts to come back in. And now you've got to say Tom Freer's got to go to the inside hard to defend this one. Force Jake Burton to go the long way around. He doesn't cover it though on the brakes, and Burton can just slide on down the inside. Little bit of out of shape. They both go there, and it is Jake Burton's position. I wonder if Tom Freer didn't defend that one as hard as he maybe could have done.
Yeah, he did run it all the way to the right there. Very, very close there from clipping the grass. You can see he potentially might have clipped it there as there was a bit of a slide under brakes there, but what a tight threading the needle there for Jake Burton. Absolutely just pulling it there on Tom Freer. Seeing if Tom Freer is going to try and put a move back at the moment, but you can see with Jake Burton's pace, it's definitely going to be a task easier said than done.
Yeah, it's going to be really tough here for Tom Freer to get anywhere close to back past Jake Burton once again. He is staying in range, but Burton is just a lot more planted with the car, where Tom Freer can see he's really trying to open up corners and turning late to try and get anything he can out of it. I reckon the tyres are starting to go here, potentially, for Tom Freer. He just cannot manage them the same way that Jake Burton is able to. And there's a reason why Jake Burton is one of the VRS coaches. It's because he knows how to drive a car and keep it planted on the road.
Yeah, you can definitely see the feedback between these two Commodores, with Freer sliding quite a lot. Then you can just see visually that gap opening up now between Burton and Freer, but just seeing how smooth Jake Burton is, taking those curbs, absolutely nailing the curbs, not too much feedback as you can see the car accelerating out of these turns.
Tom Freer is like watching an octopus trying to escape Fort Knox on high alert. That's how bad it is at the moment. There's Damien Johnstone in 11th place. He couldn't find the move to get by one Mr. Rob Bowden, so he'll be looking to try and get that one back soon. But Clint Shane Smith, he's not done, not by any stretch. Now there's a James Chastner there that they're going to be going by, and ultimately here it's a case of, well, how much run can you get? Clint's going to be trying to look every which way to try and get this one done here. He's going to have to go maybe the long way round. He's going to pick this one up, but again, well defended by Johnstone. He wants first dibs here. Shotgun backseat, turn around, touch the ground against someone like Rob Bowden.
Yeah, Damien Johnson making that Commodore absolutely wide as possible. You can see for these chicanes defending, holding it right to the middle, because quite a narrow track there. You can't really go around the inside or the outside when you're down the centre like that.
And when you're driving in the centre, it does force the other driver to make a brave decision. That's why sometimes you always get talked about going left or going right, but sometimes driving in the middle of the road, it's cheeky, it's not etiquette, but what it is very, very tough to deal with when you drive centre of the track. But for the time being anyway, Clint Shane Smith is just staring at the back of all of this one going on. It is worth noting as well that Jordi Sinai is about 0.7 of a second now clear of Adam Briggs in the fight for 5th and 6th place. That's looking more and more likely that Jordi Sinai is going to be able to survive as we go on board of the rear wing here of Kenneth Latter, having a little look at a Trick Sim Sport car.
Yeah, that's right. It does look like Scott Soslovsky, so Scott having a pretty good run at the moment, holding 14-15. We've seen Kenneth Latter's had a pretty quiet run there in that Exo Mustang there. Quite a lot of
really good run.
Oh, yeah,
Sorry,
Jack.
No, it's absolutely fine there. I stole your thunder a little bit there. It's the Trick Esports car even, I should say. And the reason why you can't tell that the car is Trick Esports and not Trick Sim Sports is if you look on the side, all the panelling's gone wrong. So it just says T.
That's exactly right. But you can see they've seen quite a lot of action in front of him. Thankfully holding position all right. We've just had a pretty big lock up there, just up the road there from Damien Johnston, just out of frame there. As we're just looking, Briggs back there on the rear bumper there. I've already seen potentially a mistake there from Sinai in the last couple of laps.
I'm starting to wonder here. Briggsy was falling back. I wonder maybe if he was cooling the engine and going for another hard concerted challenge on the tyres when it matters. Piratella's not a corner you normally overtake at up the hill into the left in these style of vehicles. You have to be brave if you get one done there, but down the hill for the 27th of 28 times that they go, and on the brakes into Aqua Minerale, a little bit sideways there from Adam Briggs. He was so late onto the brakes, and look how much it's cost him here. There goes the gap, and 2.5 tenths.
Yeah, you can see that big run up the hill at the moment. So, Jordi Sinai, we haven't really had to see him defend too much in this race at the moment, but he's definitely just seeing that gap there at the moment. So you could say that Briggsy is just not within striking distance at the moment, but definitely almost close enough to be within that draft there.
Almost close enough, but the white flag lap here in iRacing starts for Brady Myers, who leads this one by 10.5 seconds over Corey Shepherd in second position. Nobody has seen him since the drop of the green flag, and that much you can say is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth here at this moment. Shepherd second, Burton third, and it looks like that's going to be the way it stays at the moment. Fifth and sixth still to be decided at this stage, as well as there's been a change of position. Andrew Dyson has somehow got life in the old tyres and has gone through on Steve Janssen. He's done so well to keep those tyres in check, as now Christian Smart here, the only remaining real driver you could say had gone rogue, tries to attack Jack Winners. I wonder how now Christian Smart's going to bring in new members of that team. He needs to find a new generation there as they go on through. Sideways goes Winners, and he's going to force him off into the grass there, trying to hold the place. So Winners ruthless in terms of the way he's holding that one there. Tries Darren Lobb, who spun it at the end of lap one, and he's got no bonnet on the car, and he'll be looking to try and get through. Johnstone with a great run now, coming up the hill, looking towards the right of the left of Piratella. He's not quite finding it, but at the moment there are so many battles here that are trying to be won. Who's going to find what they need though? Final corner approaches though for Brady Myers, who had a walk away here. Nice little kick of tail to go with that as well. Brady Myers wins it for Altus here at Imola on Monday night. What a race.
Yeah, excellent work there for Altus. As I was saying before, and also great work there for Corey Shepherd. Bringing it home in second, such a strong race by Corey Shepherd. And Jake Burton coming from that last of the grid there. Tom Frere, Geordie Sinai, Adam Briggs.
Those are the top six. There's Dylan Rudd. There's Dyson in 8th, who's got that place. I want to look back at the top 10, though, see how that one's all changing out. Rob Bowden has held on then in the late stages to stave off the challenge of Damien Johnstone. But is he out of fuel over the line? It was close, but I think Rob Bowden just held it.
Yeah, I'm not too sure where that... why he was so slow there coming on the straight.
Ran out of fuel.
Oh, ran out of fuel there. So... yeah, definitely using the whole tank and then some. I wasn't too sure if it was going to be a slowdown from potentially cutting one of those curbs there, but yeah, great work there by Rob Bowden.
We'll catch it on the Motum simulation replay then. This is how close it goes. Actually, that's a slide and that's a spin on your cooldown lap then for one Mr. Brady Myers, who will say that's a celebration. He was sliding sideways, but this is the key for Rob Bowden, and I just want you to listen in here and try and hear when it all just lets go. You can see going. There it is, and that's where it starts to close, and the line, fortunately here in iRacing, is not all the way at the start line, but it is just a little bit further back there.
Yeah, so a little bit unfortunate there for Bowden. It felt like his efforts might have been a little bit lost, pushing so hard and holding on to that 9th position, so it does look like he'll be down a couple of spots.
Well, let's get result then as they come on forward there. We know that the line's a little earlier, so he's actually able to hold on to position there today. But Brady Myers, 28 laps, was all completed in a time of 48 minutes and 49 seconds. He wins by 11.3 over Corey Shepherd, with Jake Burton there third in the Holden Commodore. It's Commodore's next fourth and fifth. Tom Freer for Pursuit, Jordi Sinai for Synergy. They get fourth and fifth, with Adam Briggs feeling like he could have left a little bit more on the table. A poor start today meant that he had to work hard for that 6th place finish. Dylan Rudd takes 7th, with Andrew Dyson in 8th position with the early stop. Steve Janssen 9th. Rob Bowden just about held on to it with no fuel in the tank. 300ths clear in 10th.
Yeah, just missing out on that top 10. We saw some pretty big battles there from Damien Johnson, Clint Shane Smith, Brian Borg, Kenneth Latter and Scott Seslowski, Ruben Goodall, Jack Wittes, pretty strong throughout as well. Christian Smart, Darren Lobb, and Michael Rosenblatt rounding out the top 20.
And then more to look at here. Marty Hansen, 21st. Dan Johnson, 22nd. Got Sharp, Chastenerf there is 3 laps down. And then you're starting to hit retirement central. Mitch Bolton. Paul Di Maria tried to get something out of it, and there was nothing there to get out of it, so retired the car. Neil Pearson we saw earlier on, and Sebastian Tixier running into troubles then on lap 2 of this event. But there's some more wonderful, wonderful sim racing that goes on with SimSpeed TV. Not just us, but the iRacing Esports Network as well. If you haven't already, give it a like, give it a share, give it a subscribe, because this is one of the true places where you get amazing sim racing time and time again. And of course, we'll catch you in 1 week's time for more amazing sim racing action as this season looks to get itself to a thrilling conclusion. I'm hearing Barber might be the place where we get through. Charlotte Roval. My ears are really playing up today, and so is my mouth, and so is my tongue, and it's all not working out very nicely. But let's just get ourselves home and dry, shall we? It's a massively wonderful thanks to all of you who have been watching this one, as well as that, a huge thanks to Motum Simulations who have been on the replay here today. From Jay Kennedy on the cameras, Nick Skarajev alongside, I've been Jake Sperry, and Brady Myers then walks away with a Leicester flag. You could call it a grand slam, almost, if it weren't for the fact that he pitted a little bit earlier than some of the nearest contenders. There is so much more great sim racing to come up, and this championship, well, it's closing up and closing up and closing up some more. We'll catch you next time out at Charlotte, because that round 12 could be the pivotal moment that this championship needs.
This is fantastic. This is GT racing right now.
He's got traction. He's going in the outside. Both of them. Maloney.
Oh, he's taking Anderson. Anderson's up to
Oh my God. Big crash. Oh my goodness. Half the field's going to get rolled.
Six very close. These guys I want to make their way through the field very quickly. Oh, there we go.
Oh no.
That's massive. This is it. This is over. I can't believe this. Oh my God.
God, what?